Well, that was interesting. My video started by itself. I was just sitting here, just kind of dozing off. My fire's going. Today's video is two unboxings, two very special ones. One, which is the first, is from Wolf Creek Saw Shop. I've been getting good parts from Wolf Creek with very good service. If you want somebody you can deal with on your cylinders, your hard parts, your bearings, seals, gaskets, and all of that stuff, go to Wolf Creek Saw Shop. They're excellent. Yeah, I got the hat. I'm going to talk to you about what we've got here. We've got some new cylinders and new parts. So let me get my little stool over here and get set up. They even send me stickers. You get one of these stickers on your saw if it's got parts from Wolf Creek, which most have. So most saws that I do get that sticker. We've been running, or I have been running, let's just put it that way. I don't have a mouse in my pocket, no. These new cylinders, the Titanical, I have a hard time with that one, by Highway. But first, let me tell you something. I've been using on these Highway cylinders for about 4 years, maybe 5. I was only using them for saws that I couldn't get OEM cylinders for. I was an OEM guy. And pleasantly, I found that they worked out pretty good generally, 4 years ago. Well, every year that goes by, I see improvements. Especially like in the Husqvarna stuff and the steel stuff, where some of the older saws have been run long enough that the new cylinders you get from them, the molds aren't as good as they used to be. Let's just put it that way. Or there's defects. I found a lot of defects that in Husky and steel cylinders that I have not seen in the original saws because everything was so nice. So I was willing to put up with a little defect here or there as long as it wasn't a bother. I've noticed their bores are fantastic. They have been for a while. But I was couple times I've had cylinders that the plating was a little thin, especially toward the bottom. And I looked at it, well, that's not that big a deal because the rings aren't sealing down there. I want where the rings are sealing, above that transfers and that exhaust port, I want that to be good plating. I'm going to be honest with you on these stuff here, guys. I really will. This is a 272. I'm putting a 272 top end on Andy's daughter's 61. That nice one. I am. Okay, so this is actually the top end that's going on that saw. Let's just take a hard look at what we got here. I'm telling you, you're just not going to beat that. They have, see the transfers? They're nicely shaped transfers. They really are. Squish band, it's machined very well. Intake side, very well. You wanted to see these guys. Contrary to what some people say, I find these easier to port than the original cylinders and definitely easier than the OEM cylinders. Quite honestly, whenever that I'm going to raise or lower part or change a port design, I do go around my plating still with the round diamond ball bit and get rid of some of that plating. I do that. And I have had no problems with this stuff flaking. None. Done 3 of them. This will be the 4th. Trying to whip this out pretty fast as I've got Kevin Z's 046 I want to do. Kevin, your cylinder is on back order temporarily. I should be receiving it directly. And I'm going to slide that in amongst these 372 bills I got, buddy. Just for you. But I want to get this 61 on done. And get that back to them. And the piston quality is not very nice. I mean, they're just very nice. Yeah, I'm using a pop-up. I do that because I am raising the exhaust roof, probably as much as what the pop-up is, if you want to be honest. That's probably, it's going to be very close in there. I don't want her saddled with too much compression. We don't need high compression to make good power. We're definitely going to have upgrades from what the 61 was capable of. It'll be a nice running saw. So I like the intake ports are nice and oval now. It's got proper shape on the exhaust. I can't, Ryan, buddy, these things are getting good, aren't they? Yeah. Ryan at Wolf Creek Saw Shop. That's where you go to get your parts. Tell them I sent you. You might get a free pencil. I got 2 free pencils. Made me feel pretty good, too. I needed... Well, you know, working out here in the shop, you get oil on your fingers and you get oil on your paper, and you don't even realize that. And it got where the last time I was trying to make notes, the pens weren't working. They kept skipping because of the oil. You know how that goes. So I don't think pencils skip. So as long as that works out, got more to show you here. This is a fairly new product for highway, and I can recommend this. I honestly can, with good conscience. Now, there's a bunch of you. They put it in a nice bag. It's a crankshaft. This is for 372, this particular crank is. They put them in a nice box. I really kind of like that a lot. And then they sealed it up in a bag, which I just done unsealed it. But those of you that handle OEM, yeah, I know it can look like OEM, but not be as good. Well, do what I did. Do the file test. More importantly, building in something that's pretty serious. These are rebranded NWP cranks from Wolf Creek, okay? But the quality, as you can see, is absolutely excellent. And they're at a good price. They're at a nice price. Now, okay, I hear you guys. I cut a lot of firewood, or I'm a logger. I wouldn't put one in my saw. I run them in mine. I'm going to tell you. Most importantly, that 371, that last one I sent to Buck and Billy that runs pretty good, that's got one of these cranks in it with high compression and lots of horsepower. And so that lets you know what they're capable of. I would have not put one in a saw that Buck and Billy was going to run for nothing if I didn't have absolute faith. Ryan, thank you so much for everything you do for this channel. I've got a unique problem here. When I do the 61 to 272 upgrades, in a lot of cases, you don't have the carb or intake or anything like that. And so you need to change your bolts, right? Well, these are 272 bolts with a sleeve. They've got a plastic sleeve on them, which you can see. I know one thing. If you over tighten these boogers, they'll snap right off. Ask me how I know. Yeah. I got a cylinder that I did that to a year ago. I still haven't got that out. Not that I'm too concerned with it. But they need, if you use these 272 bolts in a 61 because of the air horn, you need to put small washers, 3 or 4 of them, on these bolts. You'll figure it out. But because they are a little bit long. I am going to go to my bolt supply guy with that problem, and I'm going to say, hey, can you get me these bolts, but a bunch harder, and can you get them in different lengths? And he's going to go, sure, how many you need? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do that. Probably some of you guys out there has already done that, haven't you? These bolts we get for them aftermarket are very soft. We got seals, gaskets. This is going to be a good build there for that on that 61. It really is. But I better get to moving on just a bit because I got something really interesting coming up. Now, what I've got now is something that could be very important to the saw world and to you guys out there to know. Um, there's a young channel called Dino Joe Mods. He has a chainsaw dyno. He's about half my age, I'm going to guess. He has an analytical mind. He looks at things the way they really are, and he sees it. And I don't generally, right off the hop, give a shout out to a small channel until I've worked with him a little bit and just kind of feel things out. All the honesty and purity in the world and trusting nature that I generally have, it has bit me in the butt a few times. Once pretty big. You try to help people out and they just, well, you know how it gets. So, like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm doing it now. There's a few of you guys out there that I get a chuckle out of. We need these small channels. Those of us that are getting a little bigger, we need them. Because it's a community that we all need to share information, get along. I don't care who you are. It does not matter. If you're being decent, I'll be decent back. I will. And I'll share. I share everything anyway. Whether you want it or not, I share it anyway. So, Dino Joe, this one's for you, buddy. And you're going to like this. This is who he is. He runs his own shop. I've watched his videos. There is debate in my mind that I think over time will probably be corrected of exactly how accurate a small dyno can be. I think he's onto something here, guys. In fact, I've got a build coming up probably after the first year. We're going to send to him. We're going to dyno one of my saws, or he is. Okay? I know within 10% of what the saw output's going to be and where it is. So I don't get tricked too easy that way. But I'm going to tell you something. If you think you're going to take a 5 horsepower saw and get 7.5 horse out of it, just like that, you got rocks in your head. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't when you take race V8s and put them on dynos. You'll get your heart broke. Sure way to find out if you got a lot of horsepower on a street car, take it to the drag strip. They'll hand you your butt. Yeah, because you might think you got 600 horse, but they just proved to you got like 375 because the weight of the car and the time it runs gives you your horsepower. It really does. Chainsaws do something very similar. So I'm looking forward to getting an iron horse saw on Dino Joe Mods Dyno. I really am. Now let's get right into this a little bit. He is an innovative guy. He was thinking about the same thing that a whole bunch of us was thinking. I believe in degree wheels. If you don't know in degrees of rotation where you're at with a saw for opening and closing, you can't duplicate it. You could get a good runner by just sitting there grinding away, but until you know how to run a degree wheel and keep it accurate, no cigar, guys. You can't read 10 thousandths with your fingers on a grinder. You can't. And there's a lot of times that counts. Method is everything. I'll show you something interesting. Yeah, when I seen that, I said, what the heck is that? It's on a drill chuck. He come up with this. Pretty innovative, I think. Now, what this does is it digitally reads in degrees. Just chuck that on the end of your flywheel. Away you go. Now, what I'm going to do here in a few minutes, I'm going to show you what I already know. We're going to put a degree wheel on a saw, put this right with it, and we're going to see if that duplicates. It does. You're going to like this. Okay, so thanks, Joe, thanks. I'm going to get a lot of use out of this, and I know it. I don't know if he sells these or is going to or anything. It's just something I think he personally done. But if you go over and check out his channel, you can ask it in the comments. But I'll tell you what, it comes with a darn good chuck key too. It does. So we're going to go on and share something else with you that Joe and I was talking about on the phone. Joe, what? Hey, I know I'm getting old, buddy, but I'm not ready for this yet. Come on, man. Actually, I know what this is. Let me move a box. Oh no, it looks sealed up pretty official-like, doesn't it? Let me find a knife here. At least it wasn't Depends, right? I'd have took that a little personal. Not quite ready for that. I love this packing material. I got a bunch of saws that's getting shipped here shortly. Yeah, hopefully a bunch of you guys will be really happy with me. I know I'll be happy. We're going to be running saws here again right direct. Weather kind of took a little turn for me, and I've had doctor's appointments, just normal stuff. But here's what this is. This is actually the bottom end for an Echo CS 590. Okay, they're what, 59cc saw. They have a long stroke compared to the bore. Okay, that's what they've got. It's what, 37.65 or something stroke, which is quite a long stroke. A 372 is 36 millimeter, but it's only got a 45 millimeter bore, and he's built one of these with a big bore. He's made a 72cc saw on his channel. Now, to get right down to the brass tacks, why did he send me this? Well, I'm going to tell you something. He knows I'm trying to get to a longer stroke in a 372. And this crank might get me there. And we're going to find out. I have to take this bottom end apart. But just take a look at the crank real hard. There might be something I can do with that. I'm going to split this bugger in a few minutes. This might be a topic on next video, and we're going to start measuring cranks up. We really are. I know I can turn a 390 crank and make it fit in a 372 and be able to work with it. But if it was this easy, and this is a little lighter crank, but I'm pretty interested in knowing what's going on with this. So let's go ahead and take a minute and set up my degree wheel with the digital right on top of it, stack them, and let's see what happens. Okay, so let's mount this little bugger right up. I think the best thing I could do, because of a drill check, I tried to put it on the nut, or my bolt rather, on the other side. I probably should use a little something on the threads of this, but I'm not going to put it on very tight. Just so it's holding, and that's it. Okay. Now, what I've got to do is get my clutch out of the way, number one. So I got to turn this thing on. Okay. That's kind of cool. It's got a green light and everything. Okay, so what I'm going to do for you is, no, I'm not putting a cylinder on. We're not actually timing anything. I am referencing timing from one side to the other. So let's just And right here's my wire. Let's just go ahead and bring that to 0. That's hilarious. Just the way the piston's throwing us down. Okay, so I'll do it this way. Okay. You can kind of see where we're at here. This wire is very close to marking at 0, or it is on 0. So I'm going to turn this all around. And 0 that. Okay, we're on 0. Okay, I'm going to switch it around. Make sure that I'm on 0 still. Okay, so here we are to 0. Let me get this wobbly-legged thing. Okay, on 0. I'm going to re-0 this. Okay, we're on 0 there. Okay, there's 1 degree, 1.3, 2, 3, 4. Trying to find a place where it don't just fall back down. Let's go a ways. There's 35.3 degrees. Let's just go to there. That's far enough to know whether or not this is actually duplicating, isn't it? So this is kind of neat. I got an idea this thing is actually quite accurate, quite touchy. Okay, so here we're at on this. It's showing just a little over 35. I know darn well I bumped that. Okay, so let's go a little further on the wheel. Let's go back to 0. Let's just see if this duplicated with each other. Oh, see what I'm doing? I keep bumping that. Okay, so here's what we got. I got into a situation. I'm actually rolling this flywheel around. So let me just reach to the side. Re-0. Okay, I'm at 0. Well, I'm not at 0 here, though. This is harder than I thought. There's 0. There's 0. Slightest little movement. Okay, so let's roll this to 50 degrees. This is saying on this other side 50.1. Well, I tell you, it's not the easiest thing in the world to deal with. 49.9 on this side. I don't know if I can do this without... You know something? I think this digital scale is going to be just so fantastic. Okay, then went back to 0, which you just seen, and there's where we're at. Let's try to check this thing at 180. So we're at 180 right there. This is hilarious. Okay. 179.2. I think this is I think Joe's got a winner here. I really do. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, there's times that I'm splitting hairs. Let me get you moved around. I'll get you waved all over the place. Here, look at Iron Cat. He's just a snoozing. Okay, so what we've got, guys, we have a digital that's actually going to work for us. Because, guys, most of the time, 1 degree isn't going to bother you much. But I really, really get tired of constantly fiddling with my degree wheel when I'm just getting going to get my numbers. I really get tired of that. That's why I keep preaching. Check it 3 times, do something. Check it 3 times. It has to duplicate. You know something? This little bugger, no matter where it is going to duplicate, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's very sensitive to moving it around. I can see that. So I need to actually have a nicer block of wood than this rockety old thing to keep it stable. That's the one thing I see. Joe, good job, man. Good job. That's some good stuff. Now, what it lets me do, the final time that I check my intake, exhaust, my durations of either, if I need to, transfer openings, where everything opens at, I have the distinct ability to have a digital on the crank and my degree wheel on the other side and do a comparison. That is good data. Now, after the first of the year, we'll be building a saw and sending it to Joe. And it'll be the first iron horse saw. It's probably going to be a 372. I'm going to say probably something for Buck and Billy that we're going to put on a dyno. I'm really interested. I told him, I says, honest results, post it, do it, post it, just do it. Because we can claim we've got this much or more, which I never do. I build logging saws. I'm not really into competition saws at this point. I'm kind of getting the bug. I might be shortly, another 4 or 5 months. But I want to keep it real for all of us that use saws in our lives. And so this is really important to me, to have good data like what I've got here. Now, if we get good data off of dyno, that is only going to make us better builders. If you're interested, leave a comment. If you got a saw that you're really curious what does, I'm sure Joe will treat you right. I really do. Dino Joe Mods, thank you. Thank all of you for being here to the end. Thumbs up to you. Goodbye.